Welcome everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are presenting to you a story about one of the strongest, bravest people in the world, the lighthouse. You will be paid about 15 crore taka per year to guard this lighthouse. I really want to get the job. There are also endless facilities like there will be no boss here. You can sleep completely alone. You can fish. You can do whatever you want. Your only work will be see if the light of this lighthouse is burning properly. If it ever goes off, turn it on again. That's all. You don't have to do anything else. You will just sleep with your legs up all day. But the funny thing is that despite all these facilities, it is one of the most dangerous in the world. The job is because this lighthouse is placed right in the middle of the ocean. While you are here, you will not be able to communicate with anyone. Loneliness will always surround you. Another scary thing is that there are often big storms here. The violence of those storms is so terrible that sometimes the sea water overflows the tower, and even death can occur in this work. What other great dangers find their way here is a little you will know later. Now, after seeing all this, you may wonder why this lighthouse was built in the middle of the sea. What is its function and why is this lighthouse? You always have to keep an eye on it. Why can't its light be turned off? To know the origin of this mysterious lighthouse, we have to go back a few years. At that time, there were no cars, no other vehicles or air routes for transportation. So, the only way to travel a long distance was by water. At that time, there was an extraordinary sailor named Marius. He was quite famous for being able to cross the sea even in very adverse conditions. Once, he was crossing a dark place in the middle of the sea. Just then, the ship hit some rocks under the sea. At that time, ships, they were made of wood, due to which the bottom of the ship cracked very easily and the water entered and the ship suffered a lot of damage. After this accident, Captain Marius started looking for a solution. They wanted to create something that would warn sailors in advance to avoid such problems. But the big worry here is the vastness of the Pacific Ocean, because the Pacific Ocean is so big and vast that if all the land masses of the 7 continents were put together, the Pacific Ocean would still be larger. Thousands of years ago, when sailors sailed across this vast ocean, they had no idea of what was under the sea, or even of the road ahead of them. At that time, there was no technology for navigation that could help them find their way. Basically, at that time, sailors had to rely on the sun or the moon and stars to navigate the sea, and because of this problem of direction, 2 or 3 more strange problems would come and go along the way, as happened to Captain Ellis once. Captain Ellis and his sailors. While they were crossing the Pacific Ocean, one night a storm suddenly started. The whole sky was covered with black clouds. All the stars in the sky were covered under the clouds, due to which they lost their way in the storm. When the morning came, they saw that they were lost in the vast ocean. There was nothing to eat, there was no water, no food. The sailors' condition became very bad due to hunger and thirst. They were thirsty due to lack of water even in the vast water of the ocean. Many sailors even died. After that, with great difficulty, the captain found the shore. Basically, the journey to build a lighthouse began in Egypt. Alexandria was located on the Mediterranean Sea. At that time, the ruler of the city was Ptolemy II Philadelphia. But the biggest problem for this state at that time was their location. If you look at this picture carefully, you will understand the city. You had to pass through this place to enter, and there were many large rocks around this place, as a result of which, when the ships that came to trade in this city passed through this road, the ships easily hit the rocks, and as a result, sometimes these ships would sink or suffer major damage. So day by day, due to the decrease in commercial ships in this state, it started to lag behind economically. Ptolemy then ran to the most famous architect of that time, Sostas of Cnidus, to protect his state. He prayed to him for relief from this problem. Together, the two of them then came up with an idea to build a fort on the water. He started working on the plan, the light on which would guide ships at sea and also warn them about rocks under the water, but he still could not imagine that what he was going to do would one day become one of the most famous creations in the world, which would become known as the Lighthouse of Alexandria in the whole world. The height of the lighthouse in Alexandria was 384 feet. It was made entirely of white marble. At that time, the top of this lighthouse was constantly burning, for which oil and wood had to be supplied here. Even this lighthouse was later recognized as one of the seventh wonders of the world. It was not only famous for its height, but also for its extraordinary design. At that time, a design was made with mirrors and lenses to spread the light or intensity so that the light of this lighthouse could guide the sailors of ships far away. At that time, when the news of the construction of this lighthouse or lighthouse spread, the sailors would breathe a sigh of relief. Because now they would no longer lose their way on the way to Alexandria and the ship would not be broken by the rocks. In this way, the idea of the lighthouse spread all over the world. Although at first this lighthouse was used only to navigate ships carefully in the sea, but over time, commercial. When the number of ships increased, lighthouses began to be built in places where the height of the rocks was close to the height of the sea water or where there were many rocks that could easily hit the ship. Although in the beginning the house was always lit with fire, but it was just as good an idea. There was no way around it because you always had to keep a supply of coal or firewood. Then there was no other way. Then candles or lamps were used, but the light of the fire could not go very far. It was then that the discovery of electric bulbs was made. Instead of fire, electric bulbs were also used in lighthouses. But even then, this light could not go very far. This is because the lenses were placed behind the bulbs. Then the scientists of that time discovered that if the lens was placed in front, the light could reach more. But those lenses also had a problem because the lenses of that time were very thick. And right then, a French scientist named Fresnel discovered a special type of lens. All the light coming through this special lens he made went straight to a point. It was combined, as a result of which the light could be easily sent to a specific point over a long distance. Nowadays, almost all lighthouses use Fresnel's lens. This discovery of the lens light the lighthouse was given a new look, which is why ships can still safely navigate the sea. After knowing these terrifying aspects of the lighthouse, your heart has been pounding even more. Yes, and that is why no normal person wants to stay in this lonely lighthouse even after paying so much because no one wants to lose themselves in this terrifying and lonely place.